Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Customer Success Talks, Real Challenges, Experts Advice. This is Byron Toruño, your host and your customer success nerd here. And unfortunately, today we do not have Nav with us, but we do have two amazing guests that, as all the guests that come here, they put their time and efforts to share with you insights that are going to help you excel in your customer success career. Today's episode is Beyond Business, Mastering the Art of Personal Relationships in Customer Success. Why is that so important? How can we execute that? How can we avoid going into the uncomfortable side of things? Well, all of that we're going to cover today with our two amazing guests. So first, let's go and start introducing them so they can be part of our conversation. Our first guest is Dannah Vaughan, who brings over a decade of experience in customer success. She has built, grown, and transformed customer success frameworks from scratch. Isn't that amazing? Thank you, Dannah, for being here. But there's even more. Dannah has worked in the IT, education, and fintech industry. Also, Dannah has had roles as customer success manager, VP of customer success, and director of customer success. This is amazing. Dannah, you even went beyond. So you were like, hey, that's not enough for me. Why don't I create a podcast? And you have an amazing podcast called SaaS, Rebels of SaaS, which I invite everyone to go and listen to it because it covers not only customer success, customer experience, it covers everything related to SaaS. Dannah, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was such an eloquent introduction. It humbles me to hear all of that. I will say that, what's been so exciting in all of this is not the VP, the director, all of that. It's the thing I've been most excited about, ironically, is like so many of those that may be listening to this podcast, I had the layoff happen unexpectedly. And out of that, boredom after the layoff and needing to be productive and connect people to big ideas inside of the SaaS ecosystem, I said, hey, I've been having this podcast idea kind of rattle around in my head for a while. And so as a passion project, I decided to launch the Rebels of SaaS podcast. I never expected people to actually care or listen to it or any of that. And now there's people all over the world in 6 countries that want to listen to Positive Rebellion and drive big ideas forward.
Nice.
It's so
Congrats. It
cool.
is
Yeah,
so cool.
yeah. So, and I'm so excited because, your podcast and what you're doing for customer success enablement is a rebellious concept that just makes me so happy in my heart. And what you're doing for the community here is amazing. So anyway, I just that's my little shameless plug for the podcast on my end. And thank you so much for having me as one of your guests today.
No, it's an honor. It's an honor. And again, the link to your podcast, to SaaS, the Rebels of SaaS podcast, is gonna be in the About section. So just go click on it, and you're gonna not only hear good music, but you're gonna also listen to amazing insights. Thank you, Dannah. Our next guest of today is Hassan Akram. Hassan is a frontline customer success manager with over 5 years of experience. There are some interesting things that I want to highlight from you, Hassan, is that you are a passionate about not only customer success, which you said that is beyond passion. It's actually a lifestyle. And you also are a passionate about public speaking. You are the president and director of area at Toastmasters Club. Thank you so much, Hassan, for being here with us. And I'm wondering if you could actually give a little bit of an explanation about Toastmasters Club. I think that it will benefit a lot of people listening to today's episode.
Sure. Thank you for inviting me to the podcast. I'm actually super excited to talk about a lot of concepts here. So, talking about Toastmasters, I joined Toastmasters when COVID started, and Toastmaster is a community. It's been here for now 100 years now. It started in 1924 from US. It has branches all around the globe. The main idea is to learn from each other. There's no concept of having a teacher explaining concepts. It's a group. People go to the meetings and learn from each other. And the concept is beautiful in a way that every year they conduct elections. Based on that, people vote and they decide a president of the club. Then below president, there are certain roles: VP education, VPR, who manages different aspects of the club. So when I was a president of one of the club in my vicinity, I learned a lot of new skills other than public speaking. Like, I manage how to execute a successful meeting.
Nice.
I manage how to get things done without even paying a single penny to my team, because it's a pure volunteer work. So I learned a lot of things. I've done a lot of mistakes, learned from those mistakes. So the leadership part of Toastmasters is amazing. On top of that, there's also a flavor of public speaking and the way they actually deal with it. So let's say you go to the meeting, and I am sure you have experienced it. They call you on the stage randomly. They'll give you a topic and ask you to think on the feet and speak right away. So this actually helps you in real life. So let's say when you're going for the interview, this impromptu speaking practice is going to help you in nailing different interviews as well. So the whole concept is amazing and has good impact on your professional and personal career both. So I've been the Toastmaster for like more than 3 years now. I served as president of the club and then area director. So when I was the area director, I was managing 5 clubs. So
Wow.
the presidents of the club were reporting to me. I need to make sure the club is successful. If need any help or mentorship, I'm always there to help. So the concept is amazing, and it's a pure volunteer work. You're not getting paid for it, but you are learning a lot of skills.
Yeah.
I would say though, Baron, if I can, I'm a huge proponent. I fight and advocate for Toastmasters. So hearing
Nice.
your involvement and excitement is so cool. And, Toastmasters, I think I've always said, I think that it is one of the key things that prepares people for customer success. And I'm sure you've seen this, both of you, right? Because it teaches you how to say things eloquently on the fly. And so many times, being able to do that with the customer is a really cool, polished asset to have in your toolkit. How fun.
It's
Spot
super
on.
fun. It's fun. It takes you out of your comfort zone. I didn't know it existed until I met Hassan, and I went one day, and I really liked the dynamic. It's interesting because like I was new, they ask people who are new to actually present themselves, right? So I was like, I have a podcast. I like to talk to people. I mean, that's gonna be a piece of cake. But when I was there and when I was in front of 10, 15 people, I got nervous. But what I noticed is that people are not judging. They are learning from you as you are learning from them. So it is an amazing experience. All the information is going to be in the about section. You're going to click on the link, and I'm pretty sure there is a Toastmaster club nearby where you live.
I want to add one more
Um,
thing, if you
sure.
allow me. Yeah. So another good aspect of Toastmaster is great networking, not only limited to your vicinity, but around the globe. How? So one of the president of our club, he went to Turkey for official trip. Now, since it's worldwide, he actually searched on Google the Venus Club. He went there and he explained to us that they treated him like their brother. So by
Nice.
sitting in one part of the world, you are creating a community around the globe. You go to any part of the world, you'll find club and you'll join that and be their friends. So no other platform I see that provides such type of networking while sitting in one part of the world, you have connections around the globe.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. And I again, we the three of us recommend you to go and try it out. And I'm pretty sure you're going to learn a lot of new skills and meet really, really great people. But moving on into going beyond business, mastering the art of personal relationships in customer success. Let's start with the basics. Can you tell everyone why is it so significant to build relationships that go beyond business with our customers instead of just jumping on a call, having a business review, and then wait for the next one?
Yeah. So I love that question, right? And I think it's because really at the core, people buy products for two different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
One is the product's doing some kind of job for them. You go to Starbucks, you get a coffee, it's delicious, it's what you wanted, and it does the thing, you know, it caffeinates you, you can do all the things in your workday. But then there's also another reason besides the product, right? And it's that person, that barista that you're having the conversation with, that's sharing the value of the coffee with you, those types of things. And it's the relationship that you're making with that person over time that keeps you going back to that Starbucks or that local coffee company. And I'm just using coffee because I love it so much. But you know, right? People are honest with the people that we trust, right? It's just in our nature. And so say you go there one day and the coffee's not great. It's not doing the job for you. You're going to be more compelled to actually tell that person, that barista that you talk to every day and that you have a relationship with, about why the coffee isn't doing it for you that day and what they can do to make the coffee better. Right. And that's all software really is just, it's just a coffee. It's just doing a job for a company. And so that's why it's really cool to have that kind of relationship presence. I found it to be quite useful.
I agree with Dannah, and at the end of the day, it's all about experience, right? So just following up with the example which she shared regarding the coffee. So let's say you go for a coffee to Starbucks. Maybe you find a cup. I'm just giving you a hypothetical example, $10. You go to coffee for a fancy hotel, maybe Marriott, and you will find the same coffee cup for like maybe $100. Coffee is same. Why the pricing is high? It's all about the experience which you are giving to your customers, the environment, the special feel that matters the most. And the name suggests itself, customer success means to give success to your customers. It can be through any way. And I'm a firm believer that whenever you go to any company, they teach you that you have to be very professional with the customer. You need to do's and don'ts. But I believe at the end of the day, we all are humans. We have emotions, right? If you connect with your customer at an emotional level, it can be casual, it can be semi-casual, it can be full professional, depending on the customer. So I believe having a human-to-human connection, understanding the persona of the customer is very important. How their day looks like, what they do, how they deal with different situations. When you learn those things, that means you're connecting with the customer at emotional level. And when it's emotional level, no matter how bad things went, people will still admire you, because at the end of the day, my belief is, at the end of the day, whenever a customer pick up the phone, he should not think that he's calling Motive. He
Yeah.
should think that he's calling Hassan Akram, because that's a personal brand which I've created. So he should not think about company. He should think about me as a customer success. That's the power of brand which you need to create with your customers.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and just feeding into exactly where, you know, what you're saying here, because I think it's so powerful. It's, you know, when it comes time for the new coffee to come out, right? For whatever reason, who better to tell that story to you, right? When you go in that awesome coffee shop, then the person that's been having those relationships and giving you that great service.
Yeah.
And like you said, the whole brand establishment piece, right? That person is so better equipped for success to be able to sell them that new product feature, to create those upsell and cross-sell opportunities, and, you know, make revenue something that makes sense for the company, but then also do the right thing for the customer, because the customer wants that new cool coffee too. They don't care that it might cost a little bit more. Maybe it's $12 instead of $10, right? But they know you, they dig you, they think you're awesome, and they know you're going to give them good advice because you're their advocate. You're not their salesperson, right? So anyway,
I love that.
that's
I
what I
love
think.
that. I love how you're bringing from keeping the personal side of things, but the outcomes of that. And I think this is a lot of personality. Not everyone is doing that just because there's a a significant need of, I'm gonna try to get personal with this to do this. It could happen, but I think that in my case, we just do because it's our personality, Dana and Hassan, to connect with people. We like that. Hassan, you go to the Toastmaster, you have been director and president. Dannah, you have a podcast, and you also have your experience in customer success. It's our personality to connect with people as much as we can, and this will bring some outcomes from it. It's like I like going to a place where I just go and they say the same as yesterday. Yes, because they know me.
Yeah.
When it comes to the business side, what are other benefits that you think going beyond business will impact in the customer and on the company side?
I think the biggest benefit outside of the excellent customer service, and the ability to drive that relationship with the customer at the level of kind of transcending this vendor, but being a brand, being a person, being a friend almost, a trusted advocate and partner. You know, we've been talking about that in customer success for 12 years, but it's not just a canned thing, right? It's real. Being able to truly have that relationship is important. But the biggest benefit, right, is two things. I think the first thing is going to be happier customers.
Yeah.
And that's gonna show up in to the leaders, because they're gonna see things in their voice of the customer reports and their customer happiness reports, whatever those look like. I mean, whether it's NPS or whatever it is, those are gonna get amazing, because customers are gonna be excited about that great experience when they go to the coffee shop. And then the other thing is revenue. We all
Yeah.
like revenue, right? It's cool. Like, no matter what that looks like or what the currency is globally, you know, having money is a good thing for business.
Mm-hmm.
And so having really cool people that create that brand, like Hassan, and doing that in such a beautiful and eloquent way, right, is so powerful for driving revenue. I would say that that's where companies should invest versus, you know, in legacy sales teams. And no
Yeah.
offense, salespeople, right? But I do think that that's why customer, and you and I have had this conversation, Baron. That's why
Yeah.
customer success is why we nerd about it. It's just so cool for that reason. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Do with it what you will, gentlemen.
No, I agree with Dana, and it's more like you're a consultant or advocate for the customer. Understand? I sometimes say you're a doctor for the customer. They have a lot of problems. You identify those problems, you probe them, and you give them the best advice ever, which is going to give success to them. So, having the element of advocacy is very important, because customer is dealing with a company and as a CSM, but he expects a lot out of the box from you sometimes, right? But when you have developed that kind of comfort level where customer is easy going with you, he can tell you anything, and he knows that you can get things done. Having that strong trust on you that you are my guy, you're going to get things done, is something which sometimes go beyond the real professionalism. Also, sometimes I have an example for you as well. Sometimes we also need to realize the situation, and maybe sometimes we don't need to comply with the company policies. Just to give you a small example, so the
Oh.
company where I work, so since I'm in Pakistan right now, and we normally use our pseudonyms, right? Uh, I mean, not to pretend that we are in US, but sometimes just to give comfort level, or sometimes it's really hard for customers, American customers, to pronounce our name. It's
Ah,
sometimes it's a
interesting.
tongue twister, or sometimes it's difficult for them to pronounce. So we normally use pseudonyms so that it's easy for them to actually say those names, right? One day I got a call from the customer. He was super angry, and he was like, "I want to cancel my service. You guys are not helping me." And the call came to my desk, and I listened to him. He was so angry that he actually abused not me, but the company for like straight 10 minutes. I listened to him, and I was quiet. I was in the listening mode. And after 10 minutes, he was like, "You're still here?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "I mean, in the previous conversations with three other reps, they actually gave me a warning that this language is not allowed, and they hung up on me. Why are you still here?" And I was like, "I'm here to help you. I'm not here to run away from the problem." I listened to him. I understood the problem. And then he realized that I don't have American accent. He's like, you don't sound American. Where are you from? Now, company policy says do not disclose who you are.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is a tough situation. I need to be transparent with my customers. So I tell him that I am in a different part of the world, and my job is to help my customers. And we have offices around the globe. We're a global company, and that transparency, that trust I got developed at that time. It was like, okay, you're from Pakistan, so my neighbors are from Pakistan too, and I know how to curse in your language. So that angry
What?
conversation converted into a friendly conversation. I was able to retain the customer, and he was happy, I was happy, my company was happy because I retained the revenue. So sometimes you have to go beyond some policies, keeping in mind it doesn't affect the revenue or the company. So sometimes you need to go extra mile as well.
Wow. I mean, the day that when I have a company, I will definitely look for you and hire you. I will pay you whatever you want.
Deal done.
Yeah, that's so because I mean, what a cool thing. You knew how to read the room and diffuse that situation. That's amazing.
Just by
Hassan, it
going,
really is.
yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
exactly. Just by going beyond, in this case, the policies, but also just like being human with the customer, hearing, and then once you're hearing, you're a little bit of, your personality in introducing that to the customer. I want to highlight some keywords that both of you were saying here, like trust, like understand, like transparency, happy customers, loyalty, advocacy, revenue, long-term relationships, which all of that at the end will affect positively the relationship with the customer, will open the doors for them even to give you feedback even more in an honest way. And also, you as a customer success manager will stand out from the other customer success managers. And when there's an email that comes from you, it's like, hey, this is my friend Hassan, this is Dannah from the US or from Pakistan. Yeah, let me go ahead and take a couple of minutes to answer that. So you will impact the relationship, which you will generate advocacy, which it will impact the revenue, and it will be easy for the product to improve and the service with the feedback. Amazing. Isn't this amazing? Isn't this lovely? But let's move from the basics into the first challenge of the day, because yes, I mean, everything sounds really cool. Everything sounds really easy. But the first challenge that we're going to discuss about today, it's about balancing personal and professional boundaries. And that is not easy. And that's the challenge that we have when we have this high level conversation with our customers on the QBRs and EBRs as well. So this is crucial for building trust while keeping interaction appropriate and focus on the customer outcome as well. How can customer success managers maintain a personal connection with clients without crossing that dedicated line that can end up on discomfort or unprofessionalism?
Good question. So, I mean, at the end of the day, the core job is to help customers, help the company grow in terms of revenue, right? In terms of talking to the customer, I think it's very important. Whenever I do the intro calls, I set the right expectation with the customer that these are my job timings. Because if I don't tell them these are my job timings, maybe he's trying to contact me in a time where I'm not available, and he'll be pissed that he's not responding back to my emails or calls. So setting the right expectation is very important. That's number one. Secondly, you need to make sure that you have some boundaries set the customer in terms of respect. Sometimes I've seen people getting so casual with the customers that sometimes customers sometimes feel offended as well. So you need to make sure you have set certain boundaries. There are certain limits which you shouldn't cross. And the way you build uh, connections with the customer is through frequent check-ins with the customer, making sure that someone is there to help them proactively, even if there is no problem. What I do is I normally check my customers' usage. We do have different tools to check. And if there's any abnormality in the trends, I practically call them and tell them that this is something which you might want to change because that is going to affect the overall experience. So when customers sees that you're invested at that level and you are helping them at that level, they always feel special. One of the example which I would like to share for a good customer success to be, you also need to be very, very curious. There was one
Yeah.
instance, I'm in the trucking industry, so there was a incident where the customer's truck got into an accident. 3 people died at the spot.
Oh,
And what happened was there was a burst on left wheel of the truck.
yeah.
The truck got unbalanced, went to a different lane, and that happened. Now, we provided the video to the customer for legal process, but the one thing stuck my mind was, how can I help customer in such situations? That's not my job, by the way. I mean, my job was done providing the video and telling him that this is how you can deal with the incident. But the curiosity hit my mind. And platforms, if this situation happened with any of my customer in future, how I can add some value and help the customer. I did some research, and to my surprise, I found a video where they explained that if, let's say, you're driving a vehicle, the tire got burst. Normally, as a human, we get panic, immediately apply brakes,
Yeah.
and when you apply a brake, it breaks the inertia, and there's a chance that the truck or vehicle get totaled. But what I learned from my research was that in such situation, you should not get panic. You should not apply brakes, rather using gears, lower down the speed, and try to park a vehicle in a safe location. When I shared this research with my customer and I shared the mindset behind that, why I'm doing that, he was like, wow, this kind of uh, relationship and service I'm getting, I am amazed. And he said, I will share that with my drivers to build cautious. So at the end of the day, it's all about going extra mile and making sure the customers are being served, as well as you are actually impacting their lives. It's not just getting revenue, getting a salary, and getting things done. It's about making sure that they're literally happy.
Yeah, I love everything about what you just said. I think the thing I liked most about it was that you brought in that frequent touch point with the customer, but it was all actionable out of curiosity. It was all something that brought customer value. It wasn't just, hey, how are you? Nice to talk with you today. You said those things too, I'm sure, but then you also were able to bridge that gap of trust and transcend that just by making very useful touch points happen for the customer. And so, I would say that that's a really great way to do that. And I think always being very, very kind of in addition, like being very sensitive to cultural relativism, and taking time to like understand and appreciate the fact that, customers are people, and all of us, we all look different. We all have different parts of the world and culture and background, religion and familial responsibilities and the way in which we navigate them. So it's just so stinking cool to use that in practice and kind of navigate that. And then, the way that you brought that in, it's very cool. So I have goosebumps. And you probably realistically saved lives in this instance, right? Because by having that curiosity and bringing that very real interaction in and solving this problem beyond, right, back to the whole, kind of core theme of your episode here, Bayron.
Yeah.
So cool, all by going beyond, right? It's pretty cool.
Exactly. Just by being human and have the empathy. Like this is something that can save lives. So it's like you really understand how the impact that this can cause. It's incredible.
And be curious all the time as well.
Yeah, yeah. Be curious. Some words that I want to highlight is set expectations, be curious, empathy, clear. I think clear communication is also really important because in a conversation, maybe you can say something that you didn't mean it that way, and then the customer can understand it in the wrong way. And that can happen with the customers. It can happen on your personal life as well. So I think that clear communication and stay focused, prepare as well. How can you prepare by what Dannah said, like sensitive with the culture, religion, background? If you're able to find those things, of course, that comes with time. You can go to LinkedIn, you can go through the CRM, but when you really know the person in the personal side, you will go into more their cultural background. I really like what I hear, And I want to highlight respect, because respect for me comes into saying thank you for sharing, and also the privacy and respect of their time and background. But how would it be the dynamic if it's by email? That changed a lot the rules of the game.
Right. So you're right. I mean, it all depends on the level of personalization you have with your customer. Uh, in the recent incident, there was one customer who I'm very frank with. She knows where I live. She knows what my real name is. So she sent me an email, and that was very casual email. So I replied back in the same tone. I think it's very important for you to understand the tone in the email, because words explains everything, right? Sometimes, I mean, like we have a heavy human interaction face to face. When Dana is saying something, I'm doing like this through body language. That means I'm
Yeah.
acknowledging her, right? But you cannot show these emotions on email. But the tone, the way it's being written, explains everything. Now, here's a cool tip. I mean, in the current era where tech is everywhere, what I normally do, it's my secret I'm going to reveal right now. I mean, instead of I reading the email and thinking of words what to type, what I do, I copy email, paste that in ChatGPT, and the real game is to give the right prompt to that AI-based model. If it's a casual email, I tell ChatGPT to write a casual email. If it's a strict professional email, I give a prompt, write in a professional manner. Because as I said, when I understood the tone, it's easy for me to reply back. So having going into a lot of thought process and wasting a lot of time, these tools are here for us, right?
Yeah.
So putting in, it's just like a washing machine, putting in clothes, getting it cleaned up, and showing the beautiful clothes to your customer. So that's what I do, and I've been getting success.
Yeah,
The-
that's cool. And even like, using Vimeo or, some video types of integration too, like throwing that into the digital, whether you're sending it out through the CRM as a mechanism or just through the email itself.
yeah.
But I'm actually so whenever customers send me an email, I prefer to jump on a call with the customer and talk about those things, because I love
Yeah.
interaction where it's a video call or either it's an interaction on a voice call. Because why I love that, because you understand the other person's emotions, you can understand the tone, and whenever you talk, I've been telling this to a lot of newbies that whenever you're doing an intro call, make sure that you are very high on dopamine, because if you're not, yeah, I mean, and when I call the customer say hello, oh my God, it gives me a lot of dopamine hit for some reason, and I love interacting with the customer. Yesterday, I was sitting in my office, my manager was sitting right besides me, and I was having adoption call with the customer. We're gonna cover this topic, adoption, in a while, and uh, I told her that for some reason I am loving this job every single day. And she was like, I can feel it. The way you interacting with the customers, having fun element, having the element of work, having the element of learning. So she said, I love that too. And I'm pretty positive that the customers are enjoying it too. So I mean, love the interactions on calls or via video calls.
Great. This is amazing. And I think it's also a good opening for the next challenge of the day that we want to tackle when actually going beyond business and getting a little bit more into the personal side. We already went into the basics of why is it so important to build relationships. We also just cover about not going over that dedicated line of discomfort and not professionalism, but it's also a challenge to have someone as a customer. They are expecting from you numbers, they are expecting from you value. They're not only expecting a really nice story of their family or of their background, which probably they are, of course, but there is a also this challenge about maximizing the limited client time. How can customer success managers effectively balance building personal relationships with delivering value in each interaction that they have with the customer?
Yeah, great question. So I think a couple of key things, setting expectations at the time of onboarding from the sales handoff, like Hassan was saying, is the way to win here. If customers expect, hey, I'm going to have a tactical kind of project related call to discuss outcomes or whatever it may be, at the 2-week mark from my CSM with the project manager to discuss project onboarding metrics of success. Cool.
Yeah.
If it's a certain level of customer, depending on the class of customer in terms of revenue, of course, business reviews are a great way to do this. And business reviews to maximize client time, business reviews do not have to be face-to-face. They can be virtual and still be very effective,
Yeah.
through, Zoom or, other mechanisms of video call. Or, you can even send to scale, your smallest customers may benefit from a repeatable, scalable, recorded, business review, which discusses core metrics that they would all be interested in. And that would help to, stretch everybody internally on the team so that everybody's not doing 8,000 different things, but it also helps the customer to get value, right?
Yeah.
So I just think it's important that whether it's virtual, or even recorded, that the business review is a way, use things like "we accomplished," you can say things like "we have accomplished together," because that, that when you say "we," it motivates humans to think, okay, well, we are true advocates and partners in this journey that we're going down. It's not just,
Mhm.
hey, you've accomplished this with, I'll use motive as an example, because again, the customer is excited about motive and what the product's doing for them, but what they're more excited about is Hassan and all the great things that he's solving for them when he's being curious and just being a general badass, right?
A rebel.
I
A
would highly,
rebel, indeed.
I agree with Dannah, and she actually used a very good word, value-driven conversations. I love it. So, I mean, for me, the time as a CSM, your time, and as a customer, their time is very important, right? You can be on a call with the customer for more than 1 hour, and maybe there's a chance you don't add a value, right? Now, what I normally do at Motive is that whatever solution we are selling to the customer, I always tell this to again newbies as well, that whatever tech your company is producing, the very first thing you need to realize is that you need to make sure that you learn that. And if that tech is not giving you a lot of excitement, there is no way or not you can relate that excitement to your customers. So first, you need to be sold on that particular product. And the way I do it, I mean, there's one solution which Motive is providing, but there are multiple business models out there. How, as a CSM, you make sure that one solution fits everyone is, and I would tell my customers in the intro call that my job is to understand your business model,
Yeah.
what you do, how you do. And at the same time, I also tell them I'm here to understand your flow, how you're interacting with our system, how your day looks like, because at the end of the day, my job is to actually make sure whoever is handling that CRM, he needs to be efficient. He also needs to get a promotion, right? So the reason why he's purchasing CRM is to get efficient and have a lot of automation. If I'm unable to help him with the automation and helping him doing things in a smart way, there's no way I'm adding value. And sometimes there's a feature of reporting in our CRM, and that's very underrated feature. I was training my fellow CSM yesterday, and they were like, "This feature, customers are not using it." And the same after that conversation, I had a conversation with the customer for the same feature for 1 hour. And I personally believe whenever customer purchase any software, again, it's a very technical software, they don't know the value, exact value. They know the high level information, but as a CSM, you need to make sure the team for I'm working right now is called Adoption Champions. Our core job is to make sure that customers know the CRM inside out and why we are doing that to save churn and to make sure that customers are so much invested in our product that whenever there's a time of renewal, they cannot think of any other competitor because they know this software provides every single feature which they want. So understanding the customer's business model, understanding the persona of that person you're dealing with, and make sure those value-driven conversations are there. And ultimate goal is to save churn and to give success. It's a two-way win-win situation, not one way. So if it's happening, you're happy, company's happy, you're getting a promotion, that dude is getting a promotion.
Yeah.
So yeah.
If they rock, we rock. If they are successful, we are successful. And I'm using the words basically what Dannah used. We. It's that simple. 2 letters. We. But it makes a difference. We have accomplished together, blah, blah, blah. That makes a difference. Hassan, you also said understanding the persona, understanding that role, understanding their business model. This means that you need to prepare before. Preparation is key. Preparation will help you feel comfortable, have confidence, and even just be ready for any random question or any issue that can come up during that interaction. Sometimes also going, if you're reading the room, it's so important because if you feel that there's something going on there, maybe you can go into the personal side to take this person out of that space and then bring them back into the business. But unfortunately, it's time to start wrapping up. This is so sad. I always want to continue. I have so many questions because I think it's easy to be host just by asking the questions, right, Donna? Or do you think about it? Because answering,
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. But you've said so much in this conversation that's incredibly thought provoking. So I think don't
thank
sell
you.
yourself short. You haven't been just the host in this chat.
Thank you for that.
Or
And
maybe we can record part 2 of this episode.
part
So
two.
Yeah.
Don't give
Yeah.
me ideas. Don't give me ideas. Guys, just to close today's episode, what are some, because we have been talking a lot of the good stuff, but what are those bad things that we should not do? What is the not to do? Maybe the top 2 not to do when it comes to getting personal with the customer.
I'm going to say be very, very careful around how to navigate anything that could be presented as inappropriate harassment, right?
Yeah.
I come from a place where everyone calls each other honey. It's a term of endearment. And that's okay, except it's not okay. And I had to
Yeah.
learn and condition that, right? It's important that, because, that it can blur that line between being too personal, and then also it can just be plain inappropriate.
Yeah.
And so I think the biggest thing to avoid, in my humble opinion, is make sure that, you read the room. Don't ask about a client's new baby or anything like that unless they're talking about it first, and
Good point.
always bring it back to value, value, value. So anyway, Hassan, I'm sorry. Now I'm stealing things from your brain now because I love your brain.
thank you. Yeah, no, you're right. So again, I'm in Pakistan, you're in US, he's Germany. So understanding the cultural barrier is something which is very important. And if sometimes you don't understand, some things are okay in my culture, but not okay in their culture. So understanding the cultural boundary is something which you should learn, and do not cross the line. Secondly, one more thing. So a lot of people who are coming from support background to CSM, a mind shift is very important. So initially, when I was a CSM, I came from support background, and initially when account was handed over to me, there was one problem with the customer. We do have a dedicated support team 24/7, but
Yeah.
since my brain was stuck in support, I tried to help the customer and I messed it up. And customer was so much angry that she said, well, she even sent me an email that ask your manager to change the CSM in this account. I don't want to deal with you anymore.
Ouch.
So sometimes, sometimes I always love to help my customers, but sometimes you need to understand your core responsibilities, your core skills. If something is not for you, do not try to attempt. Maybe there are experts sitting out there who can get things done in a professional way. So I tried that, it backfired. I learned from a mistake. I'm not doing that anymore. So yeah, culture boundaries, and sometimes you're not you're not a superhuman who can do everything. there are people, it's a teamwork, right? The people who get things done. So try to have a teamwork, collaborate with different people and get things done rather than taking everything on your own. So sometimes, just like I mentioned in the previous conversation, that sometimes if I'm excited about some feature, a new feature, or maybe I'm excited about everything about CRM, and sometimes when I'm interacting with the customer and it's the first time, or maybe I'm doing adoption call with the customer where I'm making him learn different things, it's also very important not to overwhelm the customer just because you're excited. It's not necessary that he's excited too, sir. So do not overwhelm the customer with a lot of extra information. As you said, read the room first, understand. Even it's also very important. This concept is, no one is actually talking about this, but I was thinking about this as well. I mean, in the intro call, you can even ask the customer his learning style. If he is okay in learning through videos, if he's okay in having the live interaction, maybe is okay by going to the help support center and learn himself. So understanding the learning style of your customer is a concept which I'm actually interested in having a podcast maybe next time. So this is also a very crucial element which we ignore sometimes and overwhelm the customer with some extra information. So yeah, this is something which I think we need to be careful as well.
There's no best way to close today's episode than with what Hassan just said. Thank you, Hassan. Thank you, Donna, both of you for your time, your passion, and all of those insights that you just gave to everyone listening to today's episode. And for you out there, remember, go to follow Hassan, go and follow Donna on LinkedIn, and also follow Rebels of SaaS, which is an amazing podcast. Thank you, everyone. And remember, keep growing, keep learning, and let's keep improving the world of customer success. Until next time.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.